Hey guys, my name's Sam and welcome to Prep Medic. In this week's video, I'm going to be talking about the Soft T Wide, which is not a new tourniquet, but I'm going to be giving you some tips on applying this. And finally, I'm going to show you guys how to fold this nice and flat so you can use it as an EDC item. Stay tuned. All right, guys, before we get started, I need to throw this out there. I am very sick right now. I've got a horrible head cold. So if I sound a little bit funny, a little bit gruffer, or I start coughing uncontrollably during this video, you know why. I'm going to do my best to struggle through this and make it bearable for you. But this week's video is all about the Soft T Wide, which is a tourniquet that's been around for a long time. This tourniquet is one of 3 tourniquets approved by the Committee for Tactical Combat Casualty Care. The other 2 being the EMT tourniquet, which I've never even laid hands on, I'll be honest with you, and the CAT tourniquet, the Combat Application Tourniquet, which is personally my favorite tourniquet to use. However, the Soft T Wide offers some advantages over the CAT that I'm going to discuss with you guys today, and that's why I carry this for my EDC among some other applications that I use it for. So obviously I'm not going to go in depth on when a tourniquet's used. I have another video talking about that, what some of the indications of a tourniquet are, how to apply it and everything like that. That's one of my past videos I've done. But really briefly, a tourniquet is going to be used for extremity hemorrhage. So if you've got life-threatening arm or leg bleeding, that's when you're going to apply a tourniquet. These aren't the scary never do items that they used to be, 10 years ago. They used to say, oh, if you're putting a tourniquet on, you're going to lose your arm or your leg. That's not the case. These can be applied for hours and they can be removed in an operating room and the person can have full neurologic recovery in that arm or leg, and everything's going to be fine. So don't be scared of these. If you want to learn more about exactly when to use these, go to my tourniquet video that I posted earlier on this channel. But the Soft T Wide, really quick, an overview of the tourniquet. It functions very similar to the CAT. And a lot of people think, oh, I've trained on the CAT, I can use a Soft T Wide, no problem. It's basically the same thing. And that could not be farther from the truth. Although they have the same basic principles, these are used completely different. So the Soft T Wide has a couple components. First, you have the windlass up here. And the windlass is the part you actually turn on a tourniquet. And unlike the CAT tourniquet, this is actually a metal windlass. So a lot of people really like that about this because it's at a decreased risk of breaking or snapping. Because this isn't quite as popular as the CAT, there aren't as many gimmicks out there. Like they have a lot of Chinese manufacturers of the CAT tourniquets that have faulty windlasses. I haven't noticed a ton of counterfeits on this, but still be careful when you're buying these. Buy these from TacMed Solutions. They're the ones that make this, and that's the safest way to be. But getting back to it, these windlass will not really break or bend or anything, and I really like how sturdy these are. Then you have the strap that will actually turn. Instead of the big plastic bracket that the CAT has here to hold the windlass when you get done, this has a triangle that you can flip up and this is going to sit in. You have the strap itself, which is actually a friction lock here. So that's how that pulls tight. The CAT has Velcro on it that holds it, as well as a little bit of a friction lock, but it's not as prominent. And then this actually has a clip. So you can actually unclip the Soft T Wide, and I've always found it a little bit hard to do, but you can actually unclip that, get it around somebody's leg, and clip it back, which is kind of a nice function to have. I will mention that this is the Gen 3. They have a Gen 4 that just came out. And basically the difference that one has is it's got a little clip here. That's a very small plastic bracket, similar to what the CAT has. And that's meant to hold the windlass in place as you deploy the triangle over it. So that's the real only big difference. You can buy that bracket for the Gen 3s and put it on here if you want. And I'd probably recommend doing it because it makes it a little bit easier to apply. So to apply these, it's pretty similar to the CAT in a lot of aspects. But this has a couple issues. So when you put this on the arm, you're going to put it above the injury site. And if you know where the injury site is, you're going like 3 to 4 inches above. If you don't know where the injury site is, you can go high and tight with it, although you should be trying to figure out where they're actually bleeding from if you have the time. So you're going to apply that over the extremity, and I'll cut to some B-roll of me doing it. And you're going to take this, and the problem that a lot of people have is that they're trying to apply this and the entire tourniquet is turning on them. So there are a couple ways you can combat that. Number one, if it's one-handed application, you don't have like a wall or anything near you, you can just take this and clamp your arm to your side and pull the strap directly over your chest. And you're going to have to really kind of work it back and forth to get it as tight as you need. You need to get this as tight as possible on that first try to get it as wrapped around your arm as you can. Because if there's even a little bit of slack within the tourniquet when you start turning the windlass, this tourniquet's going to be ineffective. And that's the same with the cat tourniquet. You need to make sure that initial tightening is as tight as you can get. The next thing you're going to do once you've clamped your arm to your side is you're going to turn the windlass until you have cessation of blood flow. You're going to flip the triangle up into place to hold the windlass in place. And then this one has a little time card on the tail of the tourniquet after you've tightened it that you can write the time if you so choose, or remember it, or write it on the patient's forehead, whatever you have to do. Now, sometimes what I found is the easiest way to apply this is if you have like a wall or even like the floor near you, you can put that over your arm and then you can actually pin the tourniquet to the wall while you tighten it, and that keeps it from turning. So you can just kind of push yourself up against the wall or the floor, tighten it, and then start turning the windlass. One thing a lot of people have troubles with this tourniquet is actually folding up the triangle. Just practice that. You have to practice doing that one-handed, and I promise you that it's just going to get a lot harder when you're actually injured, or somebody that you know is actually injured, because you're going to lose those fine motor skills and that ability to think clearly. So training is everything in this case. So one advantage this tourniquet has over the cat, and the reason that I carry this as my EDC tourniquet, is because it can actually be folded flat. And this is the way I'd recommend folding this tourniquet, whether or not it's your EDC, just because it takes up so much less space. And it's pretty easy to get to. So I'll show you guys how to fold this flat. It takes a couple tries to get it right. It's a little bit harder to fold than the cat, I think, but once you do it, it really doesn't stick out too much, and I'll kind of show you the comparison in a second. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to get your measurements right, and you can tell this has been folded in my ankle kit for a long time because I don't get it out all that much, but so I'm kind of cheating. But what you want to do is get a moderate loop, and you have to play around with how big this loop should be. This is about good for me, and you know, there is some size variation and it'll be fine either way. You're going to take the windlass, and you can actually pull some slack out of this on this end to get it to come over, but you're going to take the windlass and you're going to put it over to the side of your tourniquet here. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to take it where this buckle is, and you're going to fold the buckle over till it's right there. So you're going to notice that this isn't going to get any longer than the windlass. So you've got that here. The windlass, I think it's like 5 inches long or something like that. It's going to be about that long, and it's only going to be about 1 inch thick, which is awesome for your EDC tourniquet. I'm then going to take this loop underneath, and I'm going to fold this over. So I'm going to fold that under, and I'm going to fold that down over top. So that's what we have. And then I've got one more spot that I need to fold. I've got this entire tail. I'm going to take this and I'm going to tuck it in where the buckle is not, farther down the tourniquet. And then that's your flat folded tourniquet. Super, super slim. You can take the rubber bands. It comes with some rubber bands that are black and tactical and cool, or you can get some of your own rubber bands. I'm sure they'll work fine. And you can just wrap them over that to hold that end. And then you can take this end here and wrap it. And this is a pretty neat, small package that can be carried with you. So this is this tourniquet flat folded. Look how small that is. And then I'll admit this isn't folded the best, but here's the cat, and you can really see the difference. So these cat tourniquets have this plastic bracket here, and when I try carrying this in an ankle kit, it just chews up my leg, it chews up my pants. These stick out and it's hard to get your pant leg over it. With this, you really don't have that. It's a lot slimmer, isn't going to cause you those problems. So that's why I carry this. And I'm usually carrying it in my ankle kit here, like you guys saw. When I first did a review of this, I didn't know you could flat fold this, and people like commented like, oh, you need to learn how to do it. And it is the best thing ever. So this really just fits really well in here, and then you can have the retaining strap. I wear this all day and really have no issues with it. I absolutely love it. So to kind of sum this up for you guys, this is one of the 3 approved tourniquets. I would always go with the Committee for Tactical Combat Casualty Care because they've done a lot of testing. They have a lot of field studies out on these tourniquets. They know what they're talking about. I will say that they're evaluating a bunch of tourniquets this year, and I'd imagine there's going to be a couple added to that list of 3. I can tell you one thing for sure, the RATS tourniquet is not going to be one of the ones added. They've already evaluated that and found it to be a bad tourniquet. So I'm still against that tourniquet, but I think these will be getting joined by a couple other commercial options. Until then though, just go with what they say. They've done a lot of studies and it's best practice. So if I have the space for it, I'm going to be carrying the CAT. I think it's a little bit easier to apply. I've trained more with this, so I'm more comfortable with this. But for my EDC, because this can fold down so tight, I'm going to carry the Soft T Wide. I should probably get the latest generation. That's always best practice, but I haven't gotten around to it. So when I get that, I'll probably do another video on it. If you have any questions about anything I talked about today, please leave them in the comments down below. Always enjoy hearing from you guys. Really excited to be moving into my new house. I actually have a room for a studio, so I am hoping the production value is going to go up from here. So I appreciate all the support, guys, and I will see you next week.